Good evening and welcome to the PSGL Round 5 of the PlayStation F5 division. Takes us to the Bahrain International Circuit. Bahrain. I'm Tom Cairns in the commentary position, and alongside me is Logan, who is ready to go for some action in Bahrain, as sometimes he likes to pronounce it just now. Good evening, sir.
Bahrain is how I pronounce it. Yes, we are going to Bahrain, not Azerbaijan. That's next week. It was originally supposed to be Spain, Singapore, France, Austria, Bahrain, Azerbaijan, China, Mexico, Bahrain, Hungary, Brazil, and Portugal, but they have actually changed that. It's now going to be Bahrain, Azerbaijan, China, Mexico, Hungary, Saudi Arabia, and Brazil. So we're actually going to Azerbaijan next week. Portugal is off the calendar now, so it's been replaced by what it looks like to be Saudi Arabia. Yes, Saudi Arabia. So it's a shame we're not going to see the Portugal track in action for the rest of the season, but this is what's been made by the authorities, so it's nothing we can do, nothing the drivers can do. It's all down to the authorities at the end of the day. But yes, Bahrain, one of the best tracks on the calendar. We're here about 3 weeks early, but hey, who cares? We're here for the best action on PSGL. Hopefully not as chaotic, but as exciting as the race we had to wake up to 6 o'clock tomorrow and just me to see Charles Leclerc spin it in the gravel after 3 turns.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of Charles Leclerc fans, particularly one fan in particular, who travelled over 11,600 kilometres to watch him spin out after 3 corners. So that was rather short-lived for Charles. In regards to tonight, last week's race at the Rebel Ring saw Skyline take victory for the first time, I believe he's done that this season, because I know that the round before at Paul Ricard was won by Yannick, who was on course to take victory, but picked up a time penalty which stopped into third, handing victory to Skyline, who leads the championship by 10 points over his nearest rival, that is Chris Hallett in the McLaren. Both are racing tonight, which is going to really intensify at the Bahrain International Circuit. So what are you thinking for tonight, Logan? What are your preparations going into this one?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, don't do what Nicolas Longuet did, okay? You will be disqualified, as what happened in the actual race on Wednesday. Congratulations, by the way, to Barry Burmand, although it was decided a day late before. Oh, Barry's won. No, Thomas has won. No, Barry's won. But no, Barry is the champion. Finally, after so long, after so much bad luck, he's finally got his gong, and I'm so proud of him. I mean, I could be biased saying that's Ferrari man, but you know, he absolutely deserved it. But tonight it's the turn of the up and coming drivers here in F5 on the PlayStation, of course. We've got Skyline, we've got Nicholas Boyter here. There are a few absences though, I should mention, as we go into the absence thread. We have Yannick Day is preferring on University. Joey Cottenden, or Joey RC, his car's broke down. Unbelievable, Jeff, or Tom. Leia is with family. Homework for Boyolulu. Yep, stay in school, kids. Orthodontist appointment for Riley. Noziek's working, and MedSport is sick. Indeed you are. So there we go. We do have some reserves in tonight, though, and they are, Tom?
Janetsky and Azim, who have already raced this season. Both of them, yeah, so Janetsky raced last week, and he also raced, I'm sure he raced another time as well during the course of the...
I think.
Yeah, just looking up on... So in fact, he's competing in every race this season as a reserve, has Janetsky. Picked up a point last week at the Rebel Ring. He's finished in P6 in France, 3rd in Singapore, and 9th in Spain. So that has left him on 18 points as a result, and he'll be looking to bag some more points. Maybe have a slim chance. I do say a slim chance. We are approaching almost the halfway point in the campaign. We were obviously meant to be going to Azerbaijan, but that has been pushed back for round 6. So tonight will be Bahrain instead. So in terms of the calendar update, now that Azerbaijan has been put back, Portugal, that was meant to stage at some point, is now replaced by Saudi Arabia. So that is
Rest
off.
in peace, Portugal.
Yeah, but don't worry, we'll still see it again in another season in the near future. So we've got Bahrain, then Azerbaijan, China, Mexico, Hungary, Saudi Arabia, and Brazil, all in that order, back to back to back to back to back, until the middle of May. The 15th of May is when the last race is being held, which will be the last.
That is a very spicy lineup, I have to say. So yeah, we've got 17 drivers in the lineup. We are waiting for Toby, but he hasn't arrived yet. But I'm sure he'll join midway through the session. But you only have 10 minutes maybe to set a lap time. Should mention these drivers' past records here. 4 of the drivers here have won. That being Nicholas Beuter in F13 in season 30. Miguel in season 32 in F7. Chris Hallett last season in F6. And Joey, of course, in F3 in season 30. So from last season, we have 2 race winners here in this division. So it's going to be quite the battle if we do see Miguel get up to where Chris Hallett is. Of course, Chris Hallett was a race winner in the first race of the season at Spain in dramatic fashion. So let's see if he can get another one under his belt here in the Bahrain International Circuit, or in Sakir, some people call it, because that's where it's called. They had the Sakir Grand Prix on the outer layout, which is somehow not in the game. I do not mean to petition for additions in.
It was a fantastic race on that occasion in 2020, and such a very unusual time for the world. And Formula One decided, why not give it a go? And it certainly put on a classic, and I would not be at all surprised if we do end up using it again in the near future. We've got cars on circuit, including Demangel, who did rather well at the Red Bull. He did rather well in the Red Bull Ring last week. He ended up finishing in the top 5 in the end, I believe, which was a solid result. He's also a race winner this season in Singapore, so he knows very much what it takes to win. Now, Demangel, looking at his previous record in Bahrain, he had finished in 4th position in F7 last season, and they're looking to go onto the podium this time around.
Indeed, he will. I actually don't. Sorry, Tom, I really shouldn't speak about this on camera, but do you have the overall standings that they had last year of how they did in last season? Oh no, Nicholas Beuter is went out of the session, and it's not a good start. And Chris Hallett's actually went off the track as well, I should mention. But do you have the what's it called? The overall how they did last season? I can't really find it here.
In terms of last season, there should be. You can find all the standings on the PSGL website. In fact, you can all look at that as well. Okay. So there's that to look out for. Meanwhile, whilst Logan looks for that, we'll keep an eye on Demangel to see how he gets on, and we'll go on board for a lap of him. I'll do the honours this time around. So, here we go on this 5.4 kilometre Bahrain International Circuit as Demangel embraces for the first braking zone of turn 1. You brake at the 100 metre bar down to 3rd gear, and then you are on the accelerator nice and gently. Go a bit too greedy on the throttle on the exit. 3 turns 2 and 3, nice and steady. We'll get the telemetry up as we speak, so we can keep an eye on the speed as well. 120 kilometres an hour for the apex of turn 4, and then use the curb in a straight line on the exit. Take to the outside for 5 and 6, through 7, not too shabby there, and then you brake in 4th gear down to 90 kilometres an hour for turn 8. On the power again through turn 9, and this is the hardest braking point of turn 10. See through that part of the circuit, the hardest part arguably, and on to the back straight. DRS open, positions the car nose on the curb, not too far out wide, and now you turn into turn 11 in what looked like 4th gear to begin with, and then shifting up to 5th at the apex, up to 7th for turn 13, again using the curb on the outside as he applies the throttle, and then we go to the last braking point in the lap, turn 14, down to 4th gear, nailing the apex quite sweetly. On the power, DRS open, sprint to the line, and that is a lap at the Bahrain International Circuit. It's a 1:27.9. That's a good bunker at this point.
Kyle Sarrett is getting on the board. Dutch Roger gets on the board, but Skyline knocks Dumago the top spot over 3 tenths ahead. 1:27.665. This is just like they call it. 1:27 and 2/3, give or take a few thousandths of a second. That's 5 drivers over the line now. Is Yannick Day. Oh, Yannick Day is racing tonight, apparently. It did say he had university, but maybe his lectures got cancelled. Thank you, whoever you are, the lecturer that cancelled his lesson. He can focus on the real deal, which I probably should get a degree in. No, I have a degree in commentary. Chris Hallett gets second on the board, just about 1.13 seconds behind Skyline at 1:27.791. We have 6 drivers across the line. Edrix and the 2 Alfa Romeos, it's Kuhlmann and Miguel, are about to approach. Miguel won here last season in F7, as we alluded to earlier. And I do believe, did he win the championship? No, he just missed out. 10 points behind Skyline. He got 2 DNS in the last parts of the season. That's quite unfortunate. Edrix gets a 28.7. The 2 Alfa Romeos are 4th and 5th, 002 and 326 in the 128s respectively. And Yannick Day getting on the board as well. Leon getting on the board as well. Of course, Leon, I believe, was also... No, he wasn't a race winner. He was here last season, no, but he did score points, and he's not scoring points with that. In turn 1, he spins around in the first corner. And all the drivers looks like they're coming in now, if they've already settled up.
Well, Janetsky's on a flying lap at the moment. One driver I will mention who has yet to score a point in the PSGL on this circuit, and that's Lakitu. Now, he's raced 7 times in the past on this track, but he's never finished inside the top 10, and that's brutal. The closest he's come to was in season 26, I believe, in F2, where he was lying in 5th position on the last lap, but then he had a puncture for being out on the hard tyres for too long. So he suffered big time and fell down the order, so he ended up outside the points in the end. And so he is in need of a good result this time around. It may not be his favourite circuit. As Alex is on circuit now in the Red Bull, and you were going to mention something, Logan.
Yeah, indeed. That must be painful. It's kind of like Luca Bador, and he's like, I think he's the record holder for most finishes without a point, or most races without a point, I should say. I'm not sure if that's going to be broken, but it definitely isn't right now, because I think all the drivers in the lineup, except I think Nick De Vries and Logan Sargent, who are just starting out this season, of course, have scored a point before. So, and in fact, they're the only 2-point drivers to not score a point this season. All the teams have scored a point. But as I was just saying, we have every driver, 13 drivers that have set a lap, and we are about to... Actually, we're going to make it 14, because here comes Alex de G. Gets a 1:28.675, just about a second off. And Boyter's up there starting his lap as well. He's going through the sand dune section, as some people call it. Oh, and he's made a mistake, and that will cost him. He's not invalidated because he didn't speed through whilst off track limits. So he's still in the clear as we speak, going around to the Alonso's favourite corner, turn number 10, of course. I still watch that overtake every time, Tom. It just amazes me. He does it at 40, was it 42, 43 years old he is, and he can still pull things off like that. It's amazing.
I didn't quite pick up on what was being said there. I was too busy doing what I needed to do whilst I was not speaking, but I was just watching Boyce as he, not saying I wasn't, not that I think you're boring, it's just I was really busy doing something on my laptop for a moment, and whilst I was watching Boyce do his lap, as he's one of 3 drivers yet to post a time in this session, but that's about to change because he's coming through turns 14 and 15 now. And where is this going to put Boyter? It'll put him towards the back, I would have thought, maybe. 8th fastest, that's not too bad. Some work to do from that. Roger is on a lap in the Ferrari. He's already posted the time. It's a 1:29.6 and nearly 9 tenths off the nearest man in front of him. That's Janetsky. So this is a lap where he needs to pull something out of the bag. He is on worn soft tyres, or old soft tyres by this point, but he'll be looking to make amends and get over the line. You can see he's harvesting energy, which means he's running out of the battery, and he does improve his time by the slenderest of margins, but he stays in 15th place. El Pelota, yeah, to get a lap time on the board. I think this is going to be a lap time, but it's not going to be a representative one. There's going to be some work to do from there. So your order at the moment, as we are around about halfway through the session, Skyline is fastest by over a tenth, with Hallett in second place. So the top two in the championship in first and second. Then it's Demangel, Kuhlman, Leon, Miguel, Yannick in seventh place, and it's Boyta eighth, with Kyle and Nikita rounding out the top 10.
Should mention Epilota spun on his hot lap in, I believe it was turn 5, and that's not what you want to be having, especially if you've not set a lap time yet, and half the session already gone. Should also mention Demangel had a spin on his in lap, or it might have been actually his hot lap in turn 4 as well, so not what you want to do, especially when you have tight time. You only have about 18 minutes to set a lap. And in fact, speaking of qualifying, they're going to do shorter qualifying on Baku on Saturday for sprint. Why don't you just have the one session for both races?
Yep, that is the rumour going around, isn't it? And apparently the teams have agreed to that, but Formula needs to go to the commission board to approve the concept before it does get the green light for Baku, which will be in just under 4 weeks' time. So they haven't got long to get that sorted, but I'm sure the teams will be happy for that to go ahead, otherwise they wouldn't have agreed to that to begin with. Janetsky is not on a lap at the moment, just watching to see who is on a lap. Well, Kuhlman has just started a lap now. Kyle was on a lap as we speak. We'll stay with him now as Alex makes his way back into the lobby for whatever reason. I don't know why he's left
he lost connection, Tom. He lost connection, but he's back in now. That's good.
Yeah. Kyle is half a second up from before, so we could well see him into the 1 minute 27s, up there with Skyline, Hallett and Demangel. Not expecting this to be the fastest, but he's been in good form as Kyle. He's had a good few races, definitely so. And Paul Riccardi's wasted that effort, and so he wisely heads back to the pit lane to get another set of soft tyres on.
7 minutes to go here in the session. Skyline still ahead by over a tenth of Chris Hallett. It's fantastic form from the championship leader. He got his first win of the season last week. I think we've had 4 winners in 4 races. My mic is crackling so much. Oh dear. That's not a good sign.
Yeah. So Yannick has gone up to P6 with a 128.0, so he was able to improve on that last effort. As we watch more drivers heading over the line, as Kuhlman, currently in P4, looks set to move up the order with the lap he's producing, goes up to third in the Alfa Romeo. So he's 0.2 off the fastest time. Skyline is coming through to start a lap. Hallett is coming towards finishing the lap he's producing. Didn't quite see whether he was actually improved through sector 2. He was saying it was purple, so I'd assume it is faster than what he had done beforehand. But let's see how he gets on in the final sector. It looks rather clean. He could well be going to the top here, and he does so. It was an improvement by a couple of tenths, and he's nearly a tenth clear of everyone else. So Hallett is on provisional pole with 6 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Azim up to 5th in the AlphaTauri. El Pelota is the only driver yet to get a lap time on the board out of all 17 drivers. Leon has had a spin at the last turn, and so he goes back to the pits. Miguel is not on a fast lap. Boyta is coming towards the end of a lap that he is on, presumably, although it's not actually that fast. We'll stay with him in case it was a glitch with the lap time. No, this is a lap he's just starting. Cherno, he's on a slight... Okay, so just watching Edrix coming through. Roger is going over the line now. Is this going to be an improvement from before? No, I think that's him starting a lap. Edrix goes up to 8th, though. So one Ferrari moving up the order, one driver just starting another lap. How is El Pelota getting on? Is he on an out lap, or is he... I think he's on an out lap at the moment.
He's on an out... yeah, he's about to start an out lap. No, he's coming in. I think he might have had a lap but botched it again. I do apologise, my mic is crackling. I don't know what the problem is. I'm using my PlayStation 5 DualSense controller as the mic, so I apologise if it's cracking up. You know, I actually might change controls and see if that changes something, but I'll keep you updated, okay? 1 minute.
Okay. So whilst Logan sees to that. We'll keep an eye on the action as we speak. Lakito is heading to the pit lane. He decided that he wasn't going to improve, so he wisely heads back to the pit lane to get another set of soft tyres on. Boito is coming towards the end of the lap that he is on. I don't think he is on for an improvement here, although I could well be wrong. We'll go on board with him for the time being to see if he is actually improving. Although he is actually coming up with something here. He goes up to 4th place, so I take my word back. Boita up to P4 in the Haas. That was an excellent effort. Already a race winner in the past. Here's Nicholas Boita, the boy from Brazil, up to P4. And we've got a Mercedes coming through as well. Cherno's making his way back into the pit lane, and I expect the Ferrari behind to do the same. Roger is on circuit at the moment. I think he just finished the lap he was on, which is put him 16th. It was an improvement from before, but he's still behind everyone that has produced the lap. So this could get quite intense in the last 3 minutes, as we see the two AlphaTauris of Kyle and Azim out on circuit. We have got a number of those missing tonight for a mixture of reasons. Leia, who would be in that AlphaTauri, isn't around.
Alright, I'm back. Is everything okay here?
The mic is still crackling from as I can hear it still, Logan. But we'll might have to just live with it for now. We've got a few minutes before the race, so I think maybe during the interval before the race begins, then perhaps you can have a little go at trying to tweak the issue. But Roger is coming towards the end of the pit lane now, so it might be best to go on to the AlphaTauris as they will be preparing to go for their last runs. Azim is behind Kyle on the road, so Kyle will be the first one over the line to be the first of the last set of flying laps to be completed in this qualifying session in Bahrain. Round 5 of the F5 division in the PSGL PlayStation ladder, that is. And who's going to come away with victory here tonight? As Kyle looks to begin his last lap now of this 5.4 kilometre circuit.
And here we go then. Epler still yet to set a lap time. He's just not had any luck tonight, in all honesty.
And he's through.
Sorry, 1 second, please.
Yep. Kyle is through turns 1, 2, and 3. DRS open. 3 DRS zones on this track. 1 on the pit straight, 1 in between turns 3 and 4, and the other in between turns 10 and 11. Kyle riding the curves. He's a 10th up from before in sector 1. So at this point in the lap, it's a very good one. He'll want to be in the 1 minute 27, so he needs to find, at the very minimum, half a second to get inside that boundary. He's coming up to some cars that are on their outlaps. Hopefully they won't hinder his effort. There's the Ferrari up ahead. That'll be Edric's. His teammate has just gone into the pit lane. I think Roger's done his bit for the session now. So he'll start 16th or lower. And you can see the drivers are almost backing each other up to make sure they have some space for when they do begin their last laps. Kyle is coming towards the end of his last lap. I didn't quite spot whether he was improving a lot in sector 2. He only improved by less than a 10th by that point in the lap. So I think Kyle could well be staying in P11 here with the lap he's doing. And he does stay in P11. He did find a little bit more time in the last sector, but it wasn't enough. So he stays in 11th. Azim goes up to 3rd place, though, in the other AlphaTauri. That's a fine effort from the man who was on pole at the opening round of the season in Spain. So that's a good effort from him. We'll go to Nicholas Boita, who's coming over the line now. Here, and it was an invalidated lap, and the checker flag is out, so that's his last effort done, unfortunately, for the Haas driver. So P5 or lower is where he'll end up. Hallett is coming through the last turn, but it's no improvement from Hallett on this lap, so he ducks into the pit lane. Janetsky is coming through, and that lap is only good enough for P11. Demangle, how is he getting on in the other Alpine? only 6th.
He's crossed the line. Sorry.
Yeah,
oh, Coleman's went at the top! 5 thousandths of a second!
Yeah, Coleman has gone to the top 5 thousandths of a second faster than what Hallett have posted. Skyline through sector 2, 1 thousandth of a second up by this point in the line. But he's invalidated it, he's dropped it! And he's hit the barrier. And hopefully he'll stay out of everyone's way as they come over the line. Yannick has gone P4, Azim down to 5th place now. And we've got the Williams of Lakitu, I believe, who's just going over the line now. Goes up to 14th place, so Kyle down to 15th position. Azim's done his last effort, and that is that for qualifying. And it's Coleman right at the end, who takes his first pole position of the season.
Right at the end as well. And Chris Hallett must be shaking his head thinking, oh, I thought that was mine, but nope. Not tonight. It goes to Coleman. And I believe that is, what is it? I'm sure he's had pole this season. I might be thinking of the wrong driver. Once again, I do apologise if my mic is crackling up so much. I don't know what the issue is. I will have to look into it myself. I'm just going to have to continue as is, though. So if I hear crackling, then that's from me. I can't really do much. I'm not hearing anything from Tom's end, but apparently the same issue might happen with my blue snowball mic as well. I could try and find a solution, but anyway, there's your lineup. It's Hallett, it's Coleman, Hallett, Skyline, Yannick, and Azim your top 5. And I should also mention, Azim gets 5th. Miguel, who won here last time, only 11th starting, so not what he wanted at all, especially, yes, he's went up a couple divisions, but got to remember, you've got to be so consistent on this track all the time, regardless of what division you're in, to put in the results. So here we go then, the race. Remember, no formation lap due to potential glitches, so here we go, an anxious wait for the red lights.
I will mention the title sponsor of GT Omega. You can use PSGL at checkout for 5% off on GT Omega products. So go check that out. And there's also the links to the social platforms on Twitter, Instagram. There's a Discord server in case you want to get involved. And whether you want to be involved in racing or in commentary, there's also the PSGL website, so you can check out in terms of news, the calendars, the previous race results, etc. And so that's all you need to know for now. You can also like and subscribe so you can keep up to date with everything that's happening within the PSGL in terms of what's happening in terms of races. The top 8 tiers of the PlayStation ladder in the PSGL are racing tonight. F5 is one of those. So stay tuned with us as we've got 29 laps ahead of the drivers as they prepare for the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Round 5. The 5 red lights appear in front of the 17 drivers. It's lights out, and away we go. Coleman gets off the line fine. Skyline looks to have got the better start than the McLaren of Chris Hallett as they approach turn 1. Coleman stays in the lead as they approach the braking zone, with Skyline running wide there. He's lost out to the AlphaTauri of Azim and the Aston Martin of Yannick. The drivers trying to filter their way through. There seems to be a banging of wheels between those further behind, but nothing too dramatic so far. We've got 3 wide into turn 4. Looks like DeMangle's dropped back horribly, as has Alex, as they all go through. Miguel in there, as Il Prote gets up to 6th place ahead of Edrix. So the McLaren's up there in 2nd and 6th as they all go through, and there's a spinner at the back. That's Kyle. And Kyle seems to have has he had damage to the car, or is that just a spin from his part? Either way, it's Coleman in the lead, Hallett 2nd, Yannick in 3rd place.
It's a horrible start for Skyline, losing what looks like 2 positions already. And if he wants to keep his title race up, he's going to have to get up the order as soon as possible. He is on hard tyres, and Epiloder is on medium tyres, and he's went up 7 positions. Are you kidding me? And Skyline's went wide again. Make it 8, maybe. Make it 8. If he gets past Skyline, they're going side by side into the final section of the track, and loses the position, but Skyline with some better grip, and it looks fit. And there's a spinner back there. I think it's Alex the G has spun as well right at the back as we begin lap number 2 now with Coleman in the lead by nearly a second. Remember, DRS doesn't come and play until lap 3, so if he gets ahead by a second or more, it'll be an absolute dream start for Coleman.
Coleman pulling away at the front, a full second clear of everyone else. There's no... Yannick is in third place, keeping up with Hallett as well, so he could be in play to make a move on him. Skyline down to 6th place. He's had a terrible start to this one, has Skyline, but at least he's kept his car pointing the right way, unlike Alex and Kyle have done during the opening lap. Edrix is 7th, ahead of Leon. It's Boycer in 9th, Demangle in 10th. So if we look at the change in positions from their starting positions, El Piloto up 8 places, Cherno up 4. The biggest losers, well, you have to say Alex and Skyline. The 2 Red Bulls have had a nightmare of a first lap.
And I know what you're saying, what if that happened every time in Formula 1? The sport would be somehow exciting again. Well, it's probably sometimes like this every week in some divisions, and this week isn't an exception at all. As 1.3 seconds the gap. This is not good for the remainder of the field, and Skylines went wide again! Please, what is he, Nicholas Longue? Please don't do that, by the way. If don't do it so many times, you will get a penalty. I know it's mistakes from Skyline, but this is not where he's struggling at what looks like turn 13. It is a tough corner to navigate. I hope his setup isn't built to help straight line speed, because there's a lot of straights on here, 4 of them to be exact, 4 very long ones. And I think he might be built for that, and that's not what you want to be built for on these tracks. You want to have a fine balance between straight line speed and cornering. I think Skyline's taken one side over the other, which is not something you're supposed to do. And he's down in 6th, and he could be down to 7th if Edrix catches up a bit. By the way, DRS enabled for everyone except Chris Hallett, which seems like a real shame because he's only 1.3 seconds within Coleman, and that's not where you want to be, especially on lap 3.
Yeah, and Kyle and Alex have caught up to the back of the what is effectively the DRS train now, so they'll be getting DRS shortly. So they've done very well to catch up back up very quickly. So no need of an early pit stop for any of these drivers. They're all very much in play for a haul of points here tonight. El Plater looking to make a move on Azam now, trying to maximise the benefit of the medium tyres that he is on. Only 2 drivers have gone for the mediums in this one, as Kyle gets past Roger. I think Alex has got through as well, so Roger's dropped back 2 positions on this lap. El Plater trying to get right up to the AlphaTauri. The only trouble he's going to have is that Azam's going to have the DRS as well, so it will make it even more difficult for the McLaren to make a move. So as they'll come round to complete their 3rd lap, Yannick is 7/10 behind Hallett as we go on board with him to begin lap 4 of the race. He's got the fast lap of the race so far, but I'm sure that will come down once the fuel as the fuel is continuing to burn off for the drivers. It's worth noting as well, Logan, how much fuel each of the drivers have gone into this race, because we saw in the past that Azam crawled over the line as his fuel tank completely had dried up, and didn't cost him a position because he was already overtaken by Hallett at the beginning of the last lap, but it could so have cost him very, very dear. Now, if we look at the front, how much fuel have they got on board? Well, Coleman's on 26.8 kilograms, and Hallett is on a little bit less than what Coleman is on. So Hallett trying to maximise the, trying to make the fuel tank go to the very, very foot of the fuel tank without actually crawling his way over the line because he's running a shortage of fuel. Coleman continuing in the lead, Hallett in 2nd place, and it's Yannick in Azam. Elflater's dropped back a little bit from the AlphaTauri, but Skyline is keeping them honest. Edrix is 7th. Leon is out of DRS range in 8th, so that could give Boyd a little bit more of an opportunity to close in. Demangle is 10th in the final points paying position. It's Miguel, Cherno, Janetsky, Alex, Nikitu, Kyle and Roger. Your 17 drivers so far.
I should mention, looking at the fuel loads, Tom, Miguel and Janetsky have somewhat light fuel loads. As long as they do not overuse fuel on a lap, it looks like with 25.2 laps on their dashboard, I'm literally actually getting on my knees, mate, trying to look at like a hawk at these steering wheels, because they are public knowledge at the end of the day. They do have very light fuel loads, so hopefully, if they don't overuse the fuel and just go too hot on it, hopefully they'll finish the race, because you don't want to do an Azam.
Yeah. vitally important you don't overfuel, but it's important you don't underfuel at the same time, because as Logan has rightly mentioned, Azam had his fuel issues right at the end, didn't cost him a position, but so nearly could have done. As Kuhlmann has lost that advantage because Halit and Yannick are right within DRS range, so Halit is looking to close in a little bit. On a track like this where tyre management is so key, what is going to be the strategy behind how they go about wanting to win this race if you're Chris Halit?
If you're Chris Halit, honestly, I'd just go for the undercut. I think, especially if you're running hards, I think hards and mediums, they can both go, you could probably go 15, 16 and then 13, 14 laps on the strategies. Of course, that may change depending there be a safety car, but softs are quite risky considering that these tyres, like, they just wait to go off the scale when it comes to grip management. The tyres like to wear it very much here because of the surface here at Bahrain. I think they're trying to make it as realistic. It's just like the same in real life. The tyres don't last that long as you think it would. But Chris Hallett's starting to get close up to Kuhlmann. We have a race for the lead on our hands.
We do. We just saw Demangel make a move on Boyter for 9th place now, so he's coming through the field a little bit. Hallett, as we watch from the helicam, as they all head towards turn 8. It's a lovely shot, this, actually. They should be using this all the time, because this is a wonderful angle to see more of the action that is going on up ahead. Hallett looking to close in. Yannick running a little bit too deep into turn 10. Gets away with it. But Hallett is right within range to have a go on Kuhlmann. He needs a strong result here to reduce the arrears in the championship with Skyline. 10 points was the gap between him and Skyline in favour of the Red Bull driver heading into tonight. 16 points it is for a race win in the PSGL, 12 for second, 10 for third, and then down to 10th place for 1 point, and you'll also get a point for the fast lap if you finish inside the top 10, of course. So Hallett is looking for a move on the Alfa Romeo as they come towards the end of lap 6. We'll ride on board with Hallett as he looks to get the moves on here. I think this is going to be a slam dunk overtake for the lead here, Logan, as he goes through right now.
And there he goes into the lead. Does Kuhlmann have a response? We'll find out when he gets out of turn number 3. Oh, he has a nice run out there. He has a chance. It could be pegged back to him. Can he make the move stick, though, as he goes into turn number 4? Here we come to the braking zone. No, Kuhlmann isn't going to go for it. He's not going to go for it. That's quite surprising. I thought he would, considering the exit he had out there. Meanwhile, a good battle between Miguel and Cherno happening, and Janetsky as well for 11th place. No points for 11th place, of course, but still fun to watch. And Cherno gets a penalty. That could be crucial. And he has medium tyres on as well, so he is quite struggling on these medium tyres. I didn't think they'd wear it that quick. Remember, you've got to use 2 different compounds in this race, so you can't do medium, hard, soft, of course. And obviously you have to make a pit stop as a result, logically. It'd be quite unusual if you didn't make a pit stop, you'd be disqualified anyway. Anyways, looking at the field, we are coming through. Chris Hallett is coming through turn number 13 and has a 7/10 lead. He's building his lead very well, and that's great to see from the first race win of the season. But Kuhlmann trying to pull it back, and if he does, we will likely have, I think, will that be a 5th different winner of the season, Tom?
Well, the race winners we've had so far in the PSGL this season, Hallett won in Spain, Demangel won in Singapore, Yannick won in France, and Skyline won in last week in Austria. So Hallett is in the lead. Yeah, so Hallett would be the first repeat winner this season if he was to stay as it is. We've got an incident further behind, and it's the Alfa Romeo of Miguel who's gone for a spin. So,
and he won here last season, and now, sorry about that, he's now down in 16th. And I did also see, I think it was Leon that had a spin there as well.
Demangel as well. Demangel's dropped back because of he had a moment at the same time. So he's just got past Alex now. But he's falling out with the points as Demangel. So that's promoted Cherno and Janetsky into the points. Nikita up to 11th as well, hoping for his first ever points finish in the PSGL in Bahrain. So he's looking to end the hoodoo, hopefully. He's in desperate need of some luck. He's already finished in the points this season in France as the key to, but he just needs a consistent run of form. We know he can do it, but when you have a run like he has been through the last 3 or 4 seasons at least, it's here or not. What do you think?
About, sorry, who?
Lakitu.
Well, I honestly think he has had his struggles, and I think with all the new fast drivers coming through, no offence to Lakitu, by the way, some of the elder statesmen, especially those who have kept consistent pace, are going to start to fall behind, and I think that's why, of course, he used to be in F1, now he's here, but at least he's still hanging around and giving it your all. Just give it your all wherever you are, I'd have to say. Meanwhile, Alex G makes move to Mango for 12th place into the first corner, nicely done, and it looks like he's going to try and make a revenge overtake is Demangle, going back for 12th place, and Alex G immediately going to the inside, trying to defend, but I don't think it's going to work as Demangle gets back into 12th. Oh no, he makes a mistake, he goes a little wide out the corner. Alex G gets the inside, but not going to get it, and this battle may go on for quite a long time until the pit stops, as they make their way through the second sector of this lap. Also behind him, Kyle Sarrett, Leon and Miguel, who also spun as well. We've got a 5-way battle for some place you're not going to score for. And as it stands, if we cut off a couple of attempts, Lakitu stands to set his first points finish in Bahrain, as you have mentioned, as the fighting fivesome out of the points come through to turn number 11. And yet again, no position change, but not a good exit from Kyle Sarrett. Leon gains some well-needed time there. And Yannick's trying to get involved into the battle as well. He is 3 attempts behind Coleman, Tom.
He is, and Yannick is looking to make a move. Coleman's got the DRS behind, so that'll make it more difficult for Yannick to make a move. But I think, should Yannick maybe think about having a look as Coleman I don't want to say runs in a little bit deep. He got close to Hallett as they go through as they went through turn 1. Yanitsky has moved in front of Cherno and he goes up into 9th place. I think Cherno's medium tyres are starting to fall away by this point. El Piloto's got in front of Azen though, and he's put his McLaren up into 4th place. So he is got through nice and sound. We've had Cherno, I think, go for a spin, unfortunately. Or is it Leon that's had a spin? I think Cherno's had a spin.
Cherno has spun. And that means Lakitu's in the points! Rejoice! If you're a Lakitu fan. He has been here, as I said, 7 times. No finishes in the points. That could change tonight. I know it's a lower division like F1 was, but it's still, points are points. As we say here, points make prizes, and there certainly are if you're Chris Hallett, who is in the lead right now, 16 points, as Azam goes on to the naughty books. As a penalty, well, I wouldn't say the naughty step, but because that's probably a drive-through, but yes, you're in the bad books. And Skyline is closing up on Lepolota again, and he's gone wide again, Tom! I'm surprised he hasn't got a penalty for that.
I mean, he's running very deep. You've got to be very careful. You don't. I think what he may have done as well is just ease off the throttle a little bit, so he doesn't look like he's gaining an advantage by going off track like that. But it is 3 times that he's been off there during the course of this race. He won't want to be doing that too many times. It may be worth, Logan, considering it's me that's broadcasting it and you're not, you might want to have a look at the race director to see how many track limit warnings he's actually picked up.
I will. As the 2 Mercedes swap positions out of the last corner. Actually, no, Leon's coming in. I thought he was going to take the position. Looks like medium tyres. Yes, medium tyres, but will that get him to the end of the race? That will be waiting to be seen.
I doubt that he will, because he'll need to do 19 laps on those tyres, and I don't think they are going to last that long, if I'm honest with you. So he'll probably be back in the pits. Again, he'll probably need a safety car to get himself back into it. So Leon, at least he'll have some track position to use to actually get up to the back of the cars ahead. He's got a lot of ground to make up, though. So they've all yet to pit anyway. As we see the other Mercedes go for a spin. Cherno is off again on the exit of turn 7, and he's used the reset. He's used the resets track, which I think within the and Demangle's off as well. Demangle's had a spin.
I was about to say Demangle's off as well. Demangle is now down to 14th, which puts Alex the G into 11th. I should also mention, speaking of Skyline, who is still frantically battling with Epilota for 5th, has 2 warnings. So if he gets on there, gets off the track once more, that's him in the bad books of the PSGL directors. As we get down to lap number 12, Coolman sets the fastest lap. That will be worth a bonus should he finish in the top 10. I'm sure he will, bar any horrendous catastrophes. As Ipoloda actually, with his medium tyres, closing up to Azam.
So Azam in 4th place, who's carrying a 3-second time penalty for track limits. El Piloto looking for a move, which he decides not to go for on this occasion. He's got Skyline right behind him, so El Piloto could do with getting past the AlphaTauri very, very quickly before Skyline decides to make a dive bomb somewhere. We go through turn 7. El Piloto's tyres will be beginning to fade away by this point, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if he decides to pit in within the next lap or two to go onto the hard tyres and actually get some track position. So as they come round...
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay, you take over.
I always button at the wrong time. So yes, it is still Chris Hallett, Coolman and Yannick Day. I should mention that the only... well, in fact, Skyline, of course, has lost 3 positions. No one other than Cherno has stayed in the same position as they started with. And speaking of Cherno, he's had another off-track excursion, which brought out the yellow flag briefly. And he, in fact, quite unusual for Mercedes, they are 16th and 17th, which is not what you want to be doing, considering, well, to be fair, George Russell did DNF yesterday. Spoilers for the Aussie Grand Prix yesterday. And Hamilton finished 2nd, though, which was pretty impressive. But here, for now, Eppiloter under the cosh here against Skyline Edric, still on the medium tyres, whilst trying to catch Azam. Azam, of course, has a penalty, though, so I don't think he's going to go that aggressive, but he's got to make sure he keeps Skyline behind him, especially on these wearing medium tyres. Should be much screaming for grip this point of the race. Lap 13, he's done 12 already. Must be insane stats of those medium tyres. But it's not looking good for Azam. He's drifting off the top 3, trying to defend with all his might.
So interrupt you, Logan. There was a little bit of contact from Skyline as they went through turn 8. Leon's posted the fast lap of the race, but Skyline's getting increasingly impatient behind the McLaren. And El Piloto will want to do his bit for his teammate, actually, because he's holding up Skyline right now. And it won't be too long before we start seeing pit stops from the front runners. El Piloto, I can imagine, will be heading for the pits at the end of this lap. We are now on that 13, so really you want to try and get an undercut completed. And he's falling away from the top 3, is El Piloto, as is Skyline, so they'll want to try and get an undercut done very, very soon. So will El Piloto decide to head for the pits at the end of this lap? Let's wait and see.
So here we go, coming through, and Skyline is going in. Coolman is in, more importantly. He is trying the undercut on Chris Hallett, and this will be crucial to determine who wins this race. Eppiloder is yet to pit, and he's on mediums. The two leaders that have pit, they're on hards, and are going to transfer to medium tyres. So it's Coolman coming out in 9th. It might be more, as we see that he's coming down to what looks like 13th, and he's going to have to warm those tyres up, so he needs to be quite careful of how he tackles these first few corners, but surely he'll get up to temperature ASAP of 72 Celsius. Skyline is in 14th, and he's flying Dutch Roger for company just behind him, but it should be okay. As we have a battle for 9th place, it's Kyle Starrett and Alex G, and they come side by side through the sand dunes. This might not end well if you're not careful, but looks like Alex G swoops through and takes back 9th place. With Miguel behind them, this won't be for 9th place proper, of course, because they've got to make their pit stops as well.
There was a nice battle going on between these two, leaving each other room and respect for that matter. Alex going up into 9th place on track. I was going to say, Coolman's rejoining back onto the circuit after his pit stop. It's not an ideal scenario because he's got Demangle in front of him and Miguel and Kyle. So he could have well done with being in front of them. We've got a spin in sector 2, and it's Cherno again at turn 8.
Again.
It's been a race to forget for him as Leon goes through.
Spinning right round like a record.
And Yannick is in from P2.
Here we go then. Azam as well. That means we have, for the first time since Monza 2021, a McLaren 1-2. Yes, we're actually crossing universes together. Lakitu's in 3rd! Lakitu's in 3rd, Tom. I know he's not pitted yet, but Lakitu is in 3rd. You heard it here first. No, we're not stopping the count as we have Kyle Satt and Alex the G battling for what is now 4th place. Miguel in there as well, itching to get involved, as well as DeMango and Coolman. Coolman needs to get past these drivers ASAP though. He has much more superior grip as these Titans battle it out, and there's Aston Martin. Is that Yannick? It is Yannick. Yannick has had a horrendous exit and out of his pit stop, and that's what happens when you don't take care of the car after a pit stop, because remember, these tires are going to be so cold, and he completely underestimated it and over enthusiastic on the throttle, and in turn 3 he is absolutely botched it. And now it might be losing crucial time and might not be getting involved in this. He might lose time to Skyline. He might fall behind Skyline. He is behind Skyline. He's now in 11th, while Skyline's in 10th, barring the 7 drivers at the top haven't pit yet. So he's in net, I don't know, what to say, net 5th maybe?
Well, he's back in front of Skyline. He's back in front of Skyline now.
He is, sorry.
So Skyline made a mistake, I think, at turn 10. And Yannick has got through. Coleman is past DeMangle now, so at least he's got him out of the way, or has he? Because DeMangle is fighting back. He is allowed to do that. They're not, like, they are in a back. Yeah, it is a legitimate battle on circuit. Hallett has come into the pits for his stop. Lakito also in. So El Plota amazingly deciding to stay out on his mediums and trying to run his own race.
Wow. Oh, I know what he could be doing. Whoa, what's this? Coolman and Miguel fighting each other, and I think that's Coolman. I think that was Coolman trying to get some slipstream from Miguel. He's now ahead of Miguel, as in front of him, Chris Hallett and Alex the G fighting. Alex the G hasn't pit yet. Alex the G hasn't pit yet, and he's fighting Chris Hallett. This is crucial time for Chris Hallett. He does get through eventually. But my goodness, that could be a scary moment, because Coolman's right just behind Alex the G and Chris Hallett. This is incredible. Alex the G is pilaying spoiler to these 2 leading drivers.
Can Coolman do what Fernando Alonso did to Lewis Hamilton in Bahrain and they make a lunge into turn 10? The answer is no on this occasion. So he sits in behind the Red Bull for now as they go onto the back straight before they approach turn 11. Alex behind Chris in the battle for PT, although it's not his battle. Chris is in a strong position, you would say, because Alex is on worn hard tyres by this point, and Coolman needs to get in front, which is going for it now, and that's a brilliant pass from the Alfa Romeo driver. He needed to make that move. He just needs to get within DRS, though, of Chris Hallett to protect 3rd place on track. Now, what is Miguel decided to do? Is he going to go for it as well? No, he sits in behind. Now, Alex, Miguel, and DeMangle have all yet to pit by this point.
Oh, they're both in.
Well, 2 of them are in. DeMangle has stayed out for another lap.
Yeah, DeMangle staying in for another lap. Epilota is still out in the lead. Is he trying something that might seem impossible? Is this medium soft? This can't be medium soft. Surely he's making a crucial mistake, staying out on them so long. He's missing out on a lot of potential. So now the net battle is, I believe, I think he's trying to get up the order. I think it's Chris Hallett, it's Coolman, Azim, because DeMangle's not pit yet, and Skyline, your top 4. Maybe Yannick as well. We'll see where Epilota comes out. How much time do you lose? Like 20, 25 seconds? As Charles out of the race, so ignore that. He retired in the pit lane, threw in the towel after too many spinnings of right round, like a record. He's going to go and listen to Dead or Alive on vinyl. As we have Chris Hallett in the net lead. He's broken the DRS from Coolman. I think all those battling in front of him cost Coolman a lot of time, and the chance of being the 5th different winner in 5 races is starting to fade unless he can find some energy. He's got only 5% in the tank. That's not pretty, and neither is Chris Hallett, by the way. These drivers are absolutely burning all of their battery.
And Yannick is right behind Skyline now. Skyline does not have ERS in store, really, or DRS, I should say. Hallett with the fastest stop of the race, and DeMango has come in, and other than El Pelota, he's the last driver to pit in. But we want to have a look at Yannick to see if he goes for a move on the Red Bull as they approach turn 1. How late on the brakes will he be? And sensibly on the brakes and getting the car turned into turn 1. He had a kick of oversteer on the exit, which is never ideal to have. And he stays behind the Red Bull for now. Boyter is in 7th place on track. Lakitu is in the top 10 at the moment. I think Yanitsky might just have got in front of him. But Lakitu on course for a points finish in Bahrain in a minute. He's got a 6-second gap on Kyle, so all he needs to do is just stay within track limits, and he could well be finishing in the points in Bahrain for the first time in the PSGL.
So Epilota still leads, albeit not pit stop, and the net leader is Chris Hallett. 13.7 seconds, the gap between the two teammates. But I'm very sceptical about Epilota's strategy. I think it's going to backfire. I see what he's trying to do, but I don't think it's going to work out in his favour. Of course, time will tell, but it is a brave move. I think he's trying to see if there's a safety car. If there's a safety car, he could steal the win if he goes on soft, and he can do that at this point if the safety car comes out, because you won't wear your tyres as much as you would in regular race pace. This is a crazy, bold strategy from Epilota, and as they just say, let's see if it pays off for him, like in the film Dodgeball. I don't mean to reference movies, but you know, I am quite the referencing type when it comes to these kind of things. I'll probably need to keep it down as I go on, but it's quite the unusual situation for Epilota, whereas his teammate is just taking it normally. Yannick Day right behind Skyline, by the way, so it's quite a battle to watch, especially Skyline has been struggling all week. Oh no, Lakitu has made a mistake. He's down at the 10th now. He's still on for points, but he's got to keep his head together. If he doesn't, the streak will go on.
Yeah, that was a poor mistake from Lakitu. He was like over 5 seconds in front of Yanitsky at the beginning of the lap, and he's made a horrible error on this lap. And he's dropped a position down to 10th place now. And Kyle is in 11th place ahead of Alex and Dimangle. I think the chance of them scoring points is looking increasingly unlikely as Epilota continues on his way, and Dimangle has got a time penalty that just pretty much puts the kibosh on his chances on a points finish for tonight, which is not ideal if he's going to call himself a championship contender. We've got 6 races to go after this one. Azerbaijan next week. Epilota still continuing on.
Yeah, and to be fair, what surprises me is he's actually set consistent lap times throughout this race. He's set 132s all the way through, but it's quite surprising considering that these are supposed to wear out progressively, but no, he's kept in the 132s all along, which is quite impressive. But of course, Chris Hallett, as I checked my race director, Chris Hallett has set 132s, but going down to 131s, of course, on hard tyres, but he's set 139s and 130.6 as well in lap 17 as he goes on. He's going at a much more sedate pace as Epilota, and I think this could pay off. I might starting to doubt myself here. It could pay off.
Gone off. Coleman's off.
See about that. No, Coleman's off. What a disaster! And that might be his chance of winning over.
Yeah, and Coleman had a horrible error. He must have caught the curb on the outside too much, and that put the car into a spin in the runoff area. And so he's behind Yannick now in 6th position. Azim goes up to 3rd place, technically 2nd, once Epilota has done his stop. Yeah. That's a bad error, that, from Coleman. I suppose with Epilota at the moment, he's putting in some consistent times, and the fact he's not battling with anyone on circuit, the fact he's able to keep the car on track as well.
He's in.
He's in.
It's softs.
So it's going to be softs. Ready
Has to be.
So we'll see what tyres go on the McLaren. I will be surprised if it's the hard tyre, if I'm honest with you. And it is the soft compound.
It is softs, as I thought. Here we go then. Will the gamble pay off? Which is quite funny because gambling is actually banned in Bahrain. Sorry to bring politics into the matter, but it is a true fact. Azam takes 2nd place. Skyline back into the podium after a horrendous start. Yannick Day behind him in 4th. Coleman in 5th. Tell you what, the top drivers apart from Chris Hallett have put a lot of feet in the wrong places today.
He spun as he came out of turn 2.
Spun?
Yeah, he just got the power down too much, being too greedy on the throttle on cold tyres, and Epilota has had a spin. And Lakitu finds his way through, and Epilota was just too impatient on the throttle, and he's had a horrible spin, and he'll have worn out those tyres because of overheating them as he was spinning them.
And there'll be very warned. He's went off the track again. Epiloder, his gambit has not even lasted 4 corners. And now he's actually fighting in the points. He's fighting for points. This is not what he wants. He fights for wins, not points. Strikes, not spares. Perfect games, not just routine games. This is not good for Epiloder. And Chris Hallett is now, who's had a blinder, by the way, is in the lead by 6 seconds. Only the safety car, dare we mention it, can save the other drivers from Chris Hallett. This is a sublime performance from the McLaren driver, sorry.
Hallett on course for his 2nd win of the season. He's already had one in Spain, and that will reduce the arrears in the championship. If Skyline was to stay where he is and the gaps remained as they are, he would come away with 12 championship points, and the gap at the top. Now, Hallett, I believe, holds the fastest lap, so Hallett would close down the gap by 5 points. So what was a 10-point lead at the beginning of tonight in Skyline's favour, that's going to be halved by the end of tonight's action.
Press the wrong button there. The leading, Epiloder's 20 seconds behind. His chances of winning are definitely over. He would have been in 7th if he weren't for that spin, but he's fallen right behind. He's behind Janetsky and Lakitu, who are dueling for 8th. So he's in that battle, and I don't even think he's improving from that. If I just see the times that Epiloder has set, Epiloder has set he set faster times, but only marginally on the soft tyres compared to the medium tyres, which is not the situation you want to be. You want to be much faster with the softs, but it's not working out for him, and at this rate he's probably going to have to go for 9th, and that's not what you want to be going for. You want to be going for the win. 8th, sorry. So he's going to go for a move on Lakitu now. Please don't do anything silly here. Lakitu's never scored at this track, but I fear the Epiloder's tyres will wear out faster than expected, considering the circumstances. So here we go, he's going to go for a move on Lakitu for 9th place. He's going to get the move done, and is he going to try and get the move done on Janetsky as well? And yes, he is. He's used a lot of energy as well. Good move from Epiloder, but I fear that's maybe as high as he can get to on this race, as there's a big battle happening behind for 12th as well. Alex and Domingo, and Alex gets into 12th place.
Yeah, so he's through. Is Alex. I think the chances of points for him are unlikely, as we know. Lakitu's in 10th place, but still on course for a championship point. Outplays it up to 8th place, but he's lost time thanks to that spin at turn 2 on his outlap. He's got 5.5 seconds to make up on Edricks. I suppose the only consolation for him is that Azam and Yannick have got time penalties. So if he can just pick up the pace in the remaining laps, he's got to manage these tyres though. He's got to do 9 laps on these soft compound tyres to get him to the end of the race without the tyres really falling off the cliff. So he's cutting the gap to Edrex's Epiloder. He's cut it down to 5.2 seconds. But with 6 laps to go, sorry, I fear it may be too little too late. I think, well, to be fair, you couldn't really have went soft, medium. You could have went medium soft, I guess, but I don't think it's going to be working out either way. It will be the same thing. Yannick is about 4 tenths behind Skyline. Epiloder sets the fastest lap, so he will score bonus points should he finish in the top 10, as Lakitu and Janetsky battling for 9th place. Lakitu wanting to get on the board here for the first time, gets up there, but he's thinking about getting as high as he can. He doesn't care about his previous record. He cares about now, just treating us any other race, and Janetsky can't make a move on Lakitu. Lakitu now got 2 points in the bag from the potential, 100 and... I can't really count. 126 points ever possible. 16 times. No, sorry. 119 points possible from every race he's done. No, actually 136. I can't count. I only succeeded in Maths 2 in school, which is quite insane. But I should say,
yeah, Chris Hallett, it's looking like it's all pretty much in the bag, bar any catastrophes. This could be the first repeat winner of the year.
And Hallett is over 6.5 seconds clear, although it would be 8 seconds once Skyline's been promoted to second. As we know, Yannick is right behind Skyline, so he might have a say on how the race finishing order ends up. Will he go for it? But the problem is, if he goes for it, he'll lose ground to Kuhlmann behind and Boyter. Now, Boyter is 4.8 seconds off, so Yannick, as it stands, would only lose 1 position. Kuhlmann would go up into 4th place. So, as they come through, Kuhlmann in 5th. Edrix has had a super race so far, not too much trouble involving him tonight. He's in P7. Janitsky and Lakitu continuing to dice on circuit. And Janitsky's round the outside of Lakitu. Will he have the high ground on the exit? Yes, I think he will. And Lakitu allows him to go through. It wasn't worth fighting for it through turns 5 and 6. And so the Alpine is through into 9th place. El Piloto is continuing to close in on Edrix, but he will be losing tyre wear lap by lap as he continues to close in. He may as well just keep going as he is, because we may get a few more track limit penalties in the remaining laps.
So Lakitu, I nearly said Latifi for a second, down in 10th, but you need to stop fighting with Janetsky, because guess what, who's coming close? Kyle Sarrett and those drivers who are not in the points close behind him. And if they keep battling, this could be a great opportunity for Kyle Sarrett to nick some points right at the end of the race. As I should mention, Piloto is now just 4 seconds behind Edrix. Yeah, I think he's only going to have to settle for 8th for this occasion. The strategy has not paid off at all. As Yannick trying to close up to Skyline despite having a penalty, but it doesn't look like he is closing up anymore, and he really needs to. He needs to get past Skyline and make a 3-second gap, but I don't think that's going to be happening. At best, he's going to be finishing 5th, or actually, yeah, 5th. And it looks like that Skyline is on for 2nd place, and Azam may be 3rd, unless Kuhlmann somehow makes a massive effort to get within the 3-second window, which Azam has for his penalty. But 6.6 seconds to gap is pretty much looking inevitable that Chris Hallett's going to take his 2nd win of the season, as his teammates still struggling to find some time in towards Edrix, as Lakitu's starting to drift away from Janetsky, trying to play it safe, it looks like.
Lakitu just sitting behind him in the DRS to stay in touch and actually pull away from Kyle as he's using the DRS, because Kyle isn't able to use DRS right now. El Piloto, I think you're right. I think he's definitely going to have to settle for 8th position. That gamble to go onto the soft compound tyres has not paid off for him. He stayed out too long on the medium compound that he started the race on. So it's back to the drawing board, it seems, for El Piloto. It's a bit of a shame, but it's not over yet until it is over. They may see a few mistakes from others that could change things. Yannick looking to make a move on Skyline. This is pretty much...
mistakes from Skyline.
Yes, well, I was just going to say it's role reversal a little bit last week, because Yannick was in front of Skyline when he was carrying the penalty. It's the other way around. Skyline is in front, but Yannick is carrying the penalty like he was in Austria.
He is, so quite an unusual situation. But of course, these drivers know how to combat penalties. You just got to build up a big gap, and Miguel's now down in 15th. He won here last season as well. It's just been a horrendous reversal of fortune. He still battles with Leon, and he gets back past the 14th despite losing the position previously. Alex G still fighting for Kyle Sarrett's 11th place. Why are you fighting each other? You should be fighting against Lakitu, for goodness sake. Should be giving each other the DRS and then fighting for the positions. That's what I would do. Form a truce with other drivers and then get on the other drivers ahead. That's what they do in NASCAR, don't they? They draft against opponents and then go for strike while the iron's hot in the last few laps.
As it stands with the penalties, Azam would drop down 1 position. Yannick would drop down 1 position as well. He's trying to bridge out that 3-second margin over Kuhlmann behind, and by doing that, he's using the DRS behind Skyline to stay in touch. So Yannick may still be on course to finish 4th at this rate, We've got 2 laps left, so if he could just sit behind Skyline, providing Skyline does not make any more mistakes, he could well be finishing in 4th position as it stands.
Nicholas Boiter, by the way, just in the 6th place, I should mention. He started 7th, so he's only managed to gain 1 position. Skyline and Yannick Day both starting, could be finishing where they started, the only 2 drivers to do so. Epiloter has gained 5 positions, but he wished he gained more. Azams went up 3 positions, though, as Coleman, of course, has probably been the biggest loser of this race. He's lost 4 positions. Not as many as DeMangle and Leon, though. DeMangle started 8th, now 13th. Leon 9th, now 15th. It's just been a day to forget for these drivers.
Coleman's made a mistake.
Could be a day to remember for... Oh, Coleman has made a mistake, and now Yannick Day is out of... He is now out of the 3-second window of Yannick Day, which is not what he wanted at all. This is... He started on pole. It's just been one to forget as well for Coleman. He wishes it was a better day than this, but it doesn't have seemed to be at all. As Lakitu is still sticking around with Janetsky now. He better not get a penalty, because that will mean Kyle Sarrett will be hot on the throttle as we are now starting the final lap, and Chris Harrett is about to take a 7.2 second lead, by the way. 7.2. It's just been amazing driving for Chris Hallett. Yes, all the other drivers behind him have made mistakes, crucial mistakes as well, but he has kept us cool, and he could be about to take his 2nd win, the first driver to do so this season. As I go back to Lakitu, who could be getting his 1st point, battling Janetsky for what is 10th, 9th position, and there he is, into 9th position. Or is it? Here comes Janetsky again. He's got to be careful. This is the final lap of the race. Lakitu's never scored here. Side by side, heading to turn number 4, sorry. Lakitu gets back into 9th. But what about Janetsky? He's coming back. Oh, please be careful with Lakitu. He's never scored here, as I've said before. But it looks like he's left him be, and I think it could be 9th place, but he's still fighting with him for 9th. I can't believe we're watching the battle for 9th, because we're about to greet the winner home, and nearly makes a mistake, Janetsky, but sticks behind Lakitu. Now he's going to go for a move on the inside of the elder statesman here. No, he's not. He spun himself. He spun himself, and that means Alex the G is going to get a point. What a way to get it, but here comes the champ, the winner of the race.
Chris Hallett, race winner in F6 last season, is about to repeat the feat in F5 in season 33. He wins the Bahrain Grand Prix in dominant style. Atom will cross the line, but Skyline he'll go to P2. So Skyline's lead in the championship comes down to 6 points, but at least he's still at the top. Azim on the podium yet again. Yannick keeps hold of 4th place despite the penalty. Coleman 5th after being on pole earlier. We've got Boiter, the boy from Brazil, in 6th place. It's Edricks. Elploiter got within 3 seconds of Edricks, but has to settle for 8th. And Lakitu, hold your hands up for him. His first PSGL points in Bahrain.
Yes!
At the 8th time of asking, he's finished in the points in Sakir. Well done to him.
Last.
Alex comes home in 10th place. Kyle 11th out of Janetsky. DeMangle, disappointing race for him in 13th. Miguel, Leon, and I will say something, is that Roger pitted in for softs at the end of the 3rd to last lap. So this is actually an opportunity for him to snatch the... Well, he isn't going to get the point for the fastest lap because he's outside the top 10, but he'll take it away from El Piloto potentially.
Why? What does it do? I mean, come on, that's quite poor. But yeah, poor Janetsky lost it at the last lap of the race, and he won't get any points. Instead, Alex the G gets his point, and Dutch Rogers got a penalty. I think he might have that lap time deleted. I'm not sure. I think if you go wide, it should be deleted, but I don't think they go into that in PSGL, because they did that when Verstappen overshot the corner one time in Portugal, and they deleted it from the record, so only the legitimate times count. But it is 2nd win of the season for Chris Hallett by 8 seconds, I think it was. Now that's one heck of a gap.
At this level,
8.3 seconds.
At this level, yeah, you have to say, it may not sound like a lot, but it is when it comes to, esports standards or top tier standards, if you're a casual racer or whatever. But Chris Hallett won't care one bit. He's won the race, and he's thrown himself back into championship contention, most certainly, with victory here in Bahrain. It was a brilliant performance from him tonight. as the drivers celebrate on the podium. Skyline up there in second place, and joining them on the podium is the AlphaTauri of Azim. He did another brilliant job tonight to keep up his consistent run of form during the course of the season. So this is your race result. Haller wins, Skyline in second place. It's Azim in third. Yannick holds on to fourth ahead of Coleman and Boyter. Edrix, El Pelota, Lakitsu in ninth, and Alex in 10th. All of them in the points. Kyle 11th, just missing out. Yanicki, Demangle, Miguel, Leon, and Roger. The rest of the finishers. Roger did get the fastest lap right at the end, but does not get any points for that because he was outside the top 10. Cherno was the only driver to not finish. So, as I've already mentioned, Chris Haller has closed down the gap in the championship to 6 points between him and Skyline going into the next round in Azerbaijan in a week's time. And we will mention the sponsors of GT Omega. You can get 5% off on any GT Omega products on their site. You just use PSGL at the checkout and you get 5% off. There's all the social media platforms that you can check in the YouTube description. Do make sure you like and subscribe as well so you can keep right up to date with all the races that are happening within the PSGL. And Logan, your thoughts on tonight's race and how it's ended?
Well, for once we had a dominant performance from a driver. Usually, closely knit thanks to safety cars. We had no safety cars, not even virtual safety cars, so they all kept it in order today, which is quite fantastic to see. The top 7 all finished within the top 7 as well, just a note. I find that quite amusing. There you go. Chris Hallett now a 2-time winner this year. I think, what does that do with the standings now, provisionally, Tom?
Well, I've just mentioned that Chris Hallett is 6 points behind Skyline. Those are definitely the top two
yes.
in the standings. The standings will update in due course, so hopefully they'll be updated in time for Azerbaijan in a week's time. We'll end it there. Logan, thank you very much for joining me in the comms position for tonight, and we'll do it over again.
Thank you very much.
7 days' time. Yep, go on.
Sorry, I would just like to mention, apologies if my mic is crackling up. I'll see if I can get it sorted out for next week. It didn't happen last week, which is quite strange, so I will take a look into it. I'm not the most technological person, but I'll see what I can do, and I'll let you know what's going on next week in Azerbaijan.
So that brings an end to tonight's action. Thank you very much for watching us. Do make sure you like and subscribe. Do continue bringing the numbers in as the PSGL continues to go from strength to strength. We saw a brilliant title showdown that went all the way as far as the stewards' room. Barry Barrowmond triumphing in the PC F1 tier in the PSGL. And we've got 6 rounds to go in this season's championship, and of course on this game cycle as well before we move to F1 23 in the summer. So exciting times ahead, and definitely exciting times in this championship in F5 in the PlayStation tier. I'm Tom Cans, he's Logan, and we'll speak to you again soon when the PSGL returns.
See you later.